feel like the one thing that I keep seeing Pistons fans talk about is power forward and backup power forward. So I kind of wanted just to get your guys' like overall thoughts. Like, do you think the Pistons need to address to get one, or do you feel like there's a backup for on the roster right now that's not currently playing that position?
I mean, the forward rotation is going to be primarily three guys, right? Tobias Harris, Asar Thompson, and Ron Holland. And I think you're going to sneak Duncan Robinson in there at the three a little bit as well. Like he'll kind of split his minutes between the two and the three. You got Karis LeVert will kind of split his minutes as well. 1, 2, 3, and Jaden Ivey's 1 and 2, right? So like the way that this is all kind of shaking out, it seems to make sense right now. You could put together a 9-man rotation with basically a hole at the backup 1 and the backup 4 and just shift guys around at the guard position, Ivy and LeVert, and at that 4 position, Asar and Ron Holland, right? So it seems like that's where this is going to go. They went 9-man rotation for the majority of last year, and this gives Ron Holland a nice minutes boost, which by all accounts from Summer League looks like he's going to earn at the very least. So like I don't think that either the starting or backup power forward position is something that A, needs to be addressed, or B, will be addressed. Now, that being said, if there's a 4 or kind of a combo big out on the free agency market right now with a little bit more size who you could sign and not expect to have minutes right off the gate, right? Like just kind of be a big injury replacement. I think that's a really important move that this team could make with that 14th spot. Because like, what happens if Tobias goes down, right? If Tobias goes down and you start, let's say you just move Ron Holland in the starting position, your two forwards that you're starting are Asar and Ron Holland. You have nobody behind either Asar or Ron at the 4. Absolutely nobody. Are you going to pull up Paul Reed down to that position? Are you going to have Isaiah Stewart playing the 4 again in backup units? Like you could theoretically go even smaller and have Marcus Sasser enter the rotation there, but now you're really looking at 4 guards off the bench. Like it gets a little murky pretty quick if they start getting injuries in the front court. So I would like to add a guy at the 4, maybe like the 4-5 type position. I think Trey Lyles is going to come in and expect to play. I think Chris Boucher, he's going to come in and expect to play. These are guys that are NBA players, proven roles. Last year, they didn't get 0 minutes and they weren't on terrible teams. So I think it's got to be someone else. But I would like some depth there. I don't know. What do you think, Blake?
Yeah, I mean, I think just when you send out Simone Fontecchio in the Duncan Robinson sign and trade, like I totally get looking at the roster and you're kind of like, what's going on here? But like you said, I think those minutes, and Simone Fontecchio didn't have his best season by any means last year. Like I think the plan always should have been like you hope that some like Ron Holland is definitely going to get more minutes in year 2. Like you sort of want him to just take those. And even if he can't take all of them, like you said, split it amongst Asar Thompson and Ron Holland. I'm with you too. Like if there is a move to add some depth, I'd be all for it, especially when you do have open roster spots. Also like similar to what you said about what if Tobias goes down, like all the trade stuff we talk about, like now that Tobias is on an expiring deal, and if there is some deal where the Pistons go and acquire a player who's making a pretty decent salary, like Tobias almost has to be included in that deal. And like maybe the player you're bringing back is your starting power forward, but like if it's not, then you would sort of need to fill that position too, because I don't think it can fully just be Ron Holland and Asar Thompson if Tobias Harris isn't in the equation either. But I think like as it stands now, I sort of think it's like following the plan that the front office wanted to follow.
This made me think a lot of Tobias's first stint. You guys remember who the small forward was next to Tobias?
Marcus Morris.
I think maybe this could be their plan. They view Asar as a long-term 4, and they view Ron as a long-term 3. And maybe that might not be the plan right now this year, but maybe next year they feel more confident of having those guys at the 3 and the 4. But there's one guy you named, Wes, that I was just like, I'd love Chris Boucher, but I don't know, how many minutes he wants. I mean, there's a report that he might sign for a vet's minimum. I don't know. I'd love him. I like the versatility with him. You can play 4 or the 5, but I think what you said is correct. Like, he's probably going to want some rotational minutes. And then, like, when you kind of get into that, like, where's Ron going to play? Like, I doubt he's going to play over Karras or Duncan because you need like more 3-point shooting out there. But maybe, the long-term plan is just to kind of roll with the SAR out there, kind of how they stagger, Jaden Ivey as a shooting guard and as a point guard on this roster.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one. I do think that is the plan. And that's also exactly what I would like to see. So I'm kind of happy with it. Like, I love the idea of the 2 combo forwards just kind of mixing and matching. And Ron Holland looks like the exact type of forward where he could guard realistically 3 and 4. Some nights you might be able to stick him on a 2 and have it go pretty well, not have him get out quicked. But he is looking like he can develop into the type of forward that allows Asar Thompson to actually guard 1 through 4. You pair this with the fact that Cade can guard 1 through 3. Like, you can hide him 1 through 3 wherever you need. Like, you can have Asar Thompson play the 4, which is who he is offensively. KOC brings this up all the time, but like not Ron Holland, Asar Thompson and Jalen Duren, they cut to the exact same spots on the floor all the time. Their instincts are both as a big. They're both very good at it, and they get in each other's way pretty frequently. So, like, having Asar Thompson play a 4 offensively makes a ton of sense. Your worry is that defensively he'd be stuck guarding bigger guys. With Ron Holland and with Cade Cunningham, he doesn't have to. So I think that's probably where things are tracking. And just to, like, really quick to bring this up, like, you brought up Simone Fontecchio, like, and maybe this will calm down some fans of the podcast here, but is it fair to say that Ron Holland and Asar Thompson both are far better equipped to play the 4 for backup minutes than Simone Fontecchio ever was? Like, even when they went and acquired Simone Fontecchio 2 years ago, he started a game at the 4, and I think it was Julius Randle just buried him. Absolutely buried him for every second that he was on the court with him. Like, Simone Fontecchio, we went into last offseason saying he can't be the backup forward or the 4 because he's just not physical enough to do it. And that's what he played. Almost all of his minutes last year were at the 4. And it didn't kill him. This team wasn't toast when he was on the court, right? And now you got Ron Holland and Asar Thompson. Both are at least physically able to hold up with most 4s across the NBA, starters or backups. So I think we should not have too much concern with this. They made an upgrade just by not doing anything.
Yeah, I think you could like argue like, okay, Simone brings more shooting, but even he didn't shoot like we know he can last season, and
he was like 32%.
Yeah, and you go out and you sign Duncan Robinson and Karis LeVert, and I know they're pretty much replacing Malik Beasley and Tim Hardaway Jr., but like Duncan Robinson has some size. I'm not saying he's a good defender by any means, but if you just play one of those players next to Asar and or Ron Holland, whoever's out there, like that should bring the shooting that you're missing from Simone Fontecchio and then some, even when you don't have him in the equation.
That's a good point. I didn't think about kind of playing Duncan maybe as a 3 or a 4. I mean, I know some Heat fans said that Spo did have Duncan at the 4 before they kind of tried Kilauea, which I don't really know why he did. You drafted him in the first place if he was going to be on the bench, but they're like, oh, he can play 4 next to Bam. Let's go. But I don't know. Maybe they do sign one. Maybe they don't. Maybe they feel that, Asar is kind of like that long-term solution. I always felt like the Tobias contract was just kind of like a Band-Aid or a placeholder until they could maybe kind of identify who could be the long-term 4 on this team. Or maybe he's not even on the team yet. Maybe they trade for somebody. You never know.
Yeah, and Tobias kind of seems to me like, I mean, even before he signed here, when James Edwards was still in Detroit, like he was reporting how Tobias wants to be in Detroit. I think like he met his wife here and everything. And everything we saw last season was just how huge he was in the locker room. So like, yes, he's making $26 million this year, but his next contract isn't going to be for anything close to that. And I would probably bet that he wants to end his career in Detroit. So like eventually if you flip flop and like Tobias is your backup four and Ron Holland and or Asar are your starting four, like I think that's the best case scenario, honestly.
Yeah, that's my dream. And honestly, they kind of set up this offseason to be able to do something like that. Not saying that they will, but they have a lot more stackable contracts than they did last season. So once we get past that moratorium after a guy signs a free agency deal, like Duncan Robinson and Karis LeVert, once they are both able to be traded, you can stack some of those salaries together and actually get to a pretty big number. Because I'm right there with you, Blake. Like long term, if you could have Ron and Asar, or Asar and Ron, however you want to put it, it doesn't matter, as your starting forwards with Tobias Harris backing both of them up, that would be fantastic. I'd be all over something like that.
So kind of have like Tobias play that Al Horford role, just kind of being that vet off the bench. And man, that's a guy I wanted in free agency so bad, you guys. Like, and I was getting cooked for it. Like, why would you want Al Horford? Like, why wouldn't you want Al Horford? Like, it'd be a
He's
perfect
still
backup
out there, right? I know he's probably going to go to the Warriors, but
yeah, for Warriors to retire, I don't know, man. It's Warriors haven't made a single move. It's kind of weird.
They really like watching everyone else have fun. That's what I've gotten out of this Warriors offseason.
Honestly, I